Welcome, folks, and thank you for joining us for the third night of the virtual open house. My name is Jen, and I work with the Student Recruitment Office at the St. John's campus. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. This event has been a valuable addition to provide us insight into programs and the student experiences at Memorial University, regardless of where you might be located. And to allow to everybody to do so from the comfort of their own home. And before we start, I just want to do a territory acknowledgement. If you're not familiar with the practice, a territory acknowledgement is a way to share space with Indigenous peoples through the weaving the Indigenous protocols into university procedures. Territory acknowledgements prompt us to think about relationships between Indigenous peoples and institutions. We acknowledge the lands on which Memorial University's campuses are situated are the traditional territories of diverse Indigenous groups, and we acknowledge with respect and diverse histories and cultures of the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, Inuit, and Innu of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. We strive for respectful relations with all peoples of this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. I would like to encourage attendees to think of ways in their life and work may contribute to decolonization and reconciliation. While students at Memorial University in the future, I encourage you to learn more so you can recognize and acknowledge the pre-colonial histories of the province. If you joined us for one of the two previous nights, welcome back to the open house. And if you did not, I hope you have the opportunity to attend the sessions this evening, or as many as you're able to. If at any point you would like to navigate back to the landing page, we can share the link in the chat. And in the meantime, if any of your questions go unanswered this evening, you can email us at the Undergraduate Student Recruitment Office anytime by using the email admissions@mun.ca. Tonight, we will host sessions from some of our academic units, and we will include a new session designed for those who are still exploring academic options and want to know more about that decision-making process. But for now, we will remain in this room and have some current students of the university ready to tell us all about their university experiences. All right. So the folks who are joining us tonight, I'm going to encourage the students to introduce themselves one by one. And I'm going to go from starting off at Addie, and then we can move on down the line.
Sure. Do you want me to get started?
Yes.
Sorry. Hi, my name's Adi. My pronouns are they, them. I am at the moment finishing up a business degree and I'm a social work applicant at MUN. I have been at MUN for the past a little over 5 years, close to six-ish. And I'm really passionate about things like social justice and advocacy, and I work with MUN as well, and I've also been volunteering with various departments and units at MUN for a long time.
Awesome. Would one of you like to go next?
I can go next. So my name's Danica Dean, and my pronouns are she, her. I completed a Bachelor's of Arts with a major in French and a double minor in History and German at MUN in April of this year. And I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Education, Intermediate Secondary, conjoint with a diploma in Technology.
And would you like to go next now?
Hello, my name is Woji and my pronouns are he, him, and I'm currently third year of my pharmacy program. And I'm currently also involved with the Canadian Association of Pharmacy Students and Interns. And I also do some research under one of our professors at the school.
Thank you, Addie, Wuji, and Danica for the introductions. I'm going to start out by asking you folks a really great starter question, which is I wish I knew then what I know now. Can you give us some advice for incoming students who might be looking around at Memorial for their programs or their studies?
I guess for me, the big thing would be to like not overwhelm yourself. I found coming into university, I was very much, oh, my life has to be all about university. I can't really do much else besides it. Had I've known that coming in that I could have a social life outside of university, I think my first semester or two would have went a lot smoother. It definitely would have taken the stress off my shoulders because I did put a lot of pressure on myself to only make my life about school because that's what I was told to do. But I don't think that anyone should only focus on school. It has to be a balance.
Great, thank you. Would either of you like to contribute as well?
I can go. I think what really helped me in terms of, um, I mean, what I really thought I should have done in my first semester that I kind of got involved in the future, and I think would have been really helpful in my first semester as well, was probably just getting involved, like being anywhere at any social event, really any place you can get yourself to. That's really a great way to meet people, but also to get yourself out there and get to explore the university, get to know what else is out there. I think that is a really important part of the university experience as well, is just getting out there and participating in social events and volunteering activities and stuff like that.
Great, I think that's awesome advice. Is there anything that you would like to add as well?
Yeah, I'd just like to point out, especially for our program in pharmacy, like your grades don't sum up who you are altogether. Like your grades don't um, isn't a complete reflection of how well you know the subjects. So say sure, you if you have a high grade, that's fantastic, but it also doesn't really correlate to how much you know about your topics, because it's very hard to know everything in a topic. And sometimes you might get unlucky and say that something that you focused really hard on the test, it doesn't actually show up on the examination. Don't get hung up on too much of your grade and study practically just to get good grades. Study so you know the content yourself, and don't get hung up on too much of your grades. What I'm trying to say here, especially in a healthcare program.
Fair enough, and that makes sense. I think that bodes well into the question of uh, how did you handle the transition into your first semester, in your case, pharmacy?
Into my first semester, I was originally from New Brunswick, so I had to get adjusted to living in an out of province away from home. So that was a tough part, but I'm currently in student residence, and back in first year, I was also in student residence. And there was 4 people from our class that was also in student residence. So that really helped a lot since we were all going through the same thing. We were coming from out of town, and we were all coming from unfamiliar places into an unfamiliar place in Newfoundland in a new program. So that really helped out, having peers that are going through the same thing, and you can study together, you can go to dining hall and go to school together, and that really helped form a close knit of the people that lived in residence. That really helped me transition into the first semester, and just getting used to your professors as well, because some professors like to teach a certain way, and just getting used to them as soon as possible is also really helpful for later on during the semester and throughout the program.
Great. Danica or Addie, would either of you like to add any information about your transition or preparing for a transition?
I definitely think it's key to get to know who your professors are. I started education back in May, mostly focusing in technology at the time because the diploma's mostly in the spring. So it was a big adjustment from doing an arts degree, and then all of a sudden I'm currently working in the shop doing woodworking. So getting to know my professors and telling them hey, here's what I struggle with and what I feel like I need your support on to help me through this program really helped me feel comfortable coming into my program. I felt like I had someone in my corner that could help me had something gone wrong.
Great. I think that's an awesome addition. And I think that also sets us up for the next question, which is what kind of on-campus supports and services have benefited you? Addie, would you like to jump in on that one?
Sure. So I think I've pretty much used a lot, like I've used a lot of services, and I think I'd like to say the most support I got, like not the most support necessarily, but the most beneficial thing for me personally has been the Blunden Center, just because of how accessible my education has been. Um, Realizing that not everyone's on the same playing field in education, and having that option to get accommodations, get to basically make your life in school easier is definitely helpful. But I also think other services like Student Life, in terms of like the Student Experience Office, the Student Volunteer Bureau, the Students Union, all of these have really great things to contribute.
Great, awesome answer. And for folks in the crowd who aren't familiar with what the Blunden Center is, that would be our accessibility service office. They're pretty awesome. And Student Life definitely has lots of things going on for sure. And it's really great to check in to see what they have on the go if you're looking to be a part of a larger community of students on campus for sure. Huji or Danica, is there anything you would like to add as to supports and services that you've availed of that you find quite helpful?
Just any tutorial sessions especially were really helpful because they would go over a lot of practice problems, and they would sometimes, if your professor in lecture doesn't, if you don't get it in that lecture, like someone who's helping out at the tutorial sessions may explain it a different way that might help you in your learning. So I feel like they taught a lot of in a variety of ways, and they were really helpful for your examinations and with all the prep courses right beforehand as well. So if you're in like a last minute crunch and you need some little extra help in a certain subject, they were really helpful in trying to help you out and trying to help you to understand the subject better.
Awesome. Anything you want to add, Danica?
Definitely availing of the services in the library, like the writing center, the librarians. I cannot find a book in the library unless I get help. So definitely getting to know who you can ask in the library, because you're going to need those academic resources.
Yeah, the library folks are incredibly helpful. You're very right. All right. Now, can some of you folks tell me about some of your non-academic experience that you found very helpful in engaging with, like volunteering, any clubs, societies, work terms, traveling abroad, anything like that, I think would be a great example.
I'll speak
Yeah, I
about
can
my
start.
society. So, you can go ahead. All good? All good? Yeah. So I'm currently the president of the Intermediate Secondary Education Society for the class of 2024, and being involved in that has been awesome because I've been able to like meet my classmates and make connections with them. It's become very much like a social group. We're trying to get to know each other because we only have a very short amount of time. I believe it's 12 months. So getting to just talk to people who are in the same boat as me has definitely been one of my favorite experiences.
Great. Uji, was there something you would like to add as well?
Yep, so currently I'm the national president-elect of the Canadian Association of Pharmacy Students and Interns. So that's really been like opened my eyes to the pharmacy practice in Canada, and it's helped me meet a lot of fellow students across Canada. So it really helps learning from other provinces as well. Instead of just focusing on what Newfoundland does in terms of healthcare, you can really see what other provinces do, such as Alberta, because they have a really broad scope of practice for pharmacists. So we can learn a lot from what Albertan pharmacists can do, and you can also see a lot of like different opinions due to how they're taught and stuff like that as well, which is really beneficial since you learn a lot of different things from other schools and other students.
It's a really awesome perspective to have. That totally makes sense. Addie, anything that you would like to add on the volunteers, clubs, work terms, anything like that?
Yeah, I think my favorite experience probably was when I started getting involved with the student organizing movement, and like student movement in general, in terms of like learning my passion towards like social justice, and in terms of like also getting involved with the community, but Overall, I think what really pushed me was probably the Student Volunteer Bureau and its volunteer incentive program, which was like a really great way for me to sort of get started and find out ways to get involved, but also to really learn what my passions are and what I really want to do, sort of both academically and non-academically.
And I'm sure it's also a really great resource to the Student Volunteer Bureau, especially for folks looking to get volunteer hours for social work, especially. All right. How did you folks meet new people and get to know people in your classes in general? Were there like certain tactics, something that just you found that was a really great way to get out there and introduce yourself?
For me, my default was to always compliment them on something like, "Oh, I love your shirt. Where did you?" And then that kind of started the conversation like, "Oh, my name's Danica. I'm studying education," or I was studying French. A lot of my friends I met through my French degree. So just finding something that you can like make a connection about and then letting the conversation go from there.
I think that's a good tip. Hattie or Wuji, anything you would like to add on that front?
I think one way I did was even if I didn't really have a question about something, I would ask someone just so I can start like a conversation between them and get to know them, even though I don't really have a question on that subject. But I feel like that's a really good way to know someone because it's a really easy way to ease into a conversation with someone else that you don't know.
I mean, that's really sneaky. I like it. Addie, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I just started running into people in like various events. Like first in the first semester, I was volunteering at the career fair that happens every year at month, and over there I ran into someone from my intro to business class and sorry intro to economics class, and he essentially asked me, "Are you the one who's always sitting in the front and aggressively typing?" And that's how we became friends, and we're friends to this day.
That's awesome. All right. I think now we can start setting up for our final like question of our evening, and then maybe we have a couple of students who might have asked some questions in the chat, and if they have, we'll poke at them as well. But do you have any final words of advice for future memorial students who are looking to attend programs or sessions this evening? Danica, would you like to share any advice?
Definitely find a balance between work, school, life. Don't let one of them overconsume you. You don't want everything that's involved with just becomes a spiraling ball that doesn't stop. You involved with clubs. It's at school, and also take studying seriously, but take breaks, hang out with your friends, go to the gym, do whatever pleases you.
Yeah, exactly. I think that makes a lot of sense because, as part of academics is being, a whole student, right? You can't just be all studies all the time. You kind of have to foster many areas of yourself to be able to be a well-adjusted student. So I think that's great advice. Addie, would you like to go next?
Yeah,
Any advice?
um, something else that I kept in mind was just letting yourself be unsure of what you want to do if you are not sure, or like it's okay to change your path once you go into a certain major or certain degree or certain school. Like I changed my majors probably 7 or 8 times, and I'm still changing my major once I'm done with this degree. So yeah, it's okay to change and find your passion like as you progress, and I think that's a lot of what university is about, is really finding out what you're passionate about. Yeah.
I think that's awesome, especially if you leave an open mind and explore things that you have never tried before. Maybe it will lead you to a path that you weren't expecting. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And Wuji, any final words from you?
I would just like to say, like, just like really focus on yourself. Don't try to focus on what others are doing and like how others are doing excelling, anything like that. Don't get too discouraged of what others are doing. Just try to really focus on yourself and better yourself, because at the end of the day, after your program, you might not be with those people, and there was no point in really getting hang out with what they were doing if you're not going to be in touch with them if you're across province studying healthcare. So really try to better yourself for the better of your patients and for the better of your practice later on in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, that totally makes sense, especially for all of you folks who are looking to go into caring careers, especially to make sure you stay in touch with those things and make sure that you don't lose sight of the sight lines of the humanity of all of that. I think that's great. All right. Well, thank you three for joining me this evening and chatting with all of these lovely folks in the crowd. And I'm just going to outline what we have coming up next in the remainder of the evening. So for the folks who are staying in room 1, those are interested, if you're interested in learning about education, the from the Faculty of Education will be chatting to us this evening in room 1. Over in room 2 is the Still Exploring session. The folks from Academic Advising will be over in that room, helping students who might be undecided or just taking a look around and open to new ideas. Over in room 3, right after this, is the School of Pharmacy. I believe Wuji is also heading over there. And I think it's Danica, are you coming off to education with us, I believe? So I think that's a really great next up if you're looking to hear more from students. And for the remainder of the night, after those 2 sessions, we will also have Humanities and Social Sciences with us at 8 o'clock, followed or concurrently with nursing, as well as the folks over at social work. So we got an action-packed evening for you folks who might be looking at any of those options. And if you're looking to go back out to the main page, if you're not staying here in the room 1, I'll include the link in the chat for that so you can jump back out and visit that page. You go. And that's it for now. We're just going to take a brief break while we get set up for each session respectively. So again, anyone for education can remain here.